Who would like to start? I have a poem, but Bob, would you like to start or?
I would love to hear yours first, Jean.
All right. This one is called The Room of Ancient Keys. It's by Elena Mikhalkova. I think she must be Russian. And I looked up her website and it does have Russian characters written there. So it seems like she's Russian. My grandmother once gave me a tip. In difficult times, move forward in small steps. Do what you have to do, but little by little. Don't think about the future or what may happen tomorrow. Wash the dishes, remove the dust, write a letter, make a soup. You see, you're moving forward step by step. Take a step and stop. Rest yourself. Praise yourself. Take another step and then another. You won't notice, but your steps will grow bigger and bigger. And the time will come when you can think about the future without crying.
Mhm.
Oh, I like how you read it, Jean.
Well, it's very personal. I get myself into binds with thinking I have to do too much at a time. And it's really nice to do things step by step and stop every once in a while instead of charging ahead.
That's a great final line.
Right.
Think about the future without crying.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's quite an achievement to get to that point.
I know. You know, one line that I didn't really understand, it says, don't think about the future or what may happen tomorrow. Isn't that the future? I think it should say, don't think about the past or what may happen tomorrow. You know?
Probably emphasizing something there about the future and parts of it.
Yeah. It's sort of, yeah, I see your point. It's sort of a little bit of a contradiction.
Yeah.
But it's pretty hard, you know, sooner or later, our thoughts are going to go back to the future. And I guess maybe the poet is saying that if you fortify yourself in these ways, when that time comes, you'll be in better shape.
Right. Yep. It's amazing how hard it is, you know? And
I don't even.
Oh, I was just
not think about the future.
Yeah, Gary and I seem to be in opposite directions to each other. I think a lot about the past and he thinks a lot about the future. And we have to really work at staying in the present, you know? It's interesting the habits we get into.
That's what you're supposed to do, stay in the present. I also think a lot about the past because the future looks very bleak. And I wrote the first poem that I think is pretty negative because usually I write, ta-da, you know, whatever.
Right.
But I'm not going to read it. No, I'm not going to read it.
Why are you?
No, it's not ready.
Oh. Okay.
But, you know, I think the idea of staying in the present, they're different. That's a tricky idea. I mean, I don't aspire to never thinking about the future. I mean,
no.
Making plans, having goals. There are a lot of positive ways of relating to the future.
That's true, but if you minimize the present because you're so attached to the future.
Yeah.
When there's a problem.
Right.
You know, that's how I use.
It's not as if the less we think about the future, the better off we are.
No,
but
that's a really good point. Well, you have to think about the future, otherwise you're just staying stagnated.
And the past.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, this is a little philosophy here, but how about the present? Is there a present? To me, time is always flowing, and it's flowing from the past through the present to the future. And so in a way, there's no fixed point, which is only the present. I think every moment has a little bit of flow in it.
Wow.
Oh, flow now there. That's what's important is flow. And that's what I look for with poetry and music and all of the arts, because it takes me out of everything. Today, tomorrow, and yesterday, all of those things flow. If I'm making something, like if I could be sawing some wood and painting something, I will forget what time it is. I will be totally in flow. It's a wonderful place to be.
It
It's
is.
not easy to get to.
It is, yeah. Without that little monkey brain chattering away about, about all kinds of anxieties.
You know, I heard an interesting thing the other day that caused me to pause about the monkey brain. The person, I'm trying to think who it was, said that that voice is not your voice. That voice is a bunch of other people's voices that you have taken in as a lodger, but it's not your voice. And I have always thought of it as my voice somehow as being a negative voice. But I really like the concept that maybe it's not actually my voice.
Ooh, that's really interesting, Jane.
Isn't it?
I hadn't thought of it that way, but that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Because it's echoes of my parents and the media, all those messages about who I am and what I can and can't do. Not really my voice at all. No. Anyway,
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it,
yeah.
I think.
Who's going to read next?
There's one thing I've been thinking of, a song that Louise taught us, and it's based on a poem. I don't know if it's Khalil Gibran. Your children are not your children. They're the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. And that's another thing that I think about from time to time. That I like to have little things I can grasp onto that takes me to another place.
Right.
Yeah.
I copied a poem the other day from one. I get a poem every day from the Poetry Foundation in Chicago. This is called Daybreak in Alabama, and it's written by, of all people, Langston Hughes. And it's about Blackness, but it's about Blackness in a different way. I really liked it. When I get to be a colored composer, I'm going to write me some music about daybreak in Alabama. And I'm going to put the prettiest songs in it, rising out of the ground like a swamp mist and falling out of the heaven like a small dew. I'm going to put some tall, tall trees in it, and the scent of pine needles, and the smell of red clay after rain, and long red necks. Black and white, black people. And I'm going to put white hands and black hands and brown and yellow hands and red clay earth hands in it, touching everybody with kind fingers, touching each other, natural as dew, in that dawn of music when I get to be a colored composer and write about daybreak in Alabama.
Oh,
Was that good?
yes.
I want to hear it again.
Oh, no, well, you keep your fingers crossed and my computer doesn't bonk out like it
That's
usually
okay.
does. Langston Hughes, famous guy, Daybreak in Alabama. Daybreak. When I get to be a colored composer, I'm going to write me some music about daybreak in Alabama, and I'm going to put the prettiest songs in it, rising out of the ground like a swamp mist and falling out of heaven like soft dew. I'm going to put some tall, tall trees in it, and the scent of pine needles, and the smell of red clay after rain, and long red necks, and poppy-colored faces, and big brown arms, and field daisy eyes of black and white, black, white, black people. And I'm going to put white hands and black hands, and brown and yellow hands, touching everybody with kind, and red clay earth hands in it, touching everybody with kind fingers, touching each other natural as dew, and at that dawn of music, when I get to be a colored composer and write about daybreak in Alabama.
That is lovely.
Isn't it kind of, it just shocked me when I read it and I thought, I got to copy that. I
the
printed it out.
clay and the smell of pine needles.
Yeah, and the black, white, black, white.
Yeah.
This is ahead of the times thinking, it seems to me. I don't remember when Langston Hughes was in his prime.
Probably in the 30s,
The 30s.
I think.
Yeah, okay, I can always look it up, but anyway, I know he's very important.
Oh, yeah. I love Langston Hughes. I think he's just, I don't know if I've ever read anything of his that I didn't love.
But he wrote novels and essays and things too, did he not?
He did, and short stories. Yeah.
Yeah, I just looked him up. He was born in 1901 and died in 1967. So 30s sounds perfect.
Yeah, he'd be in his prime for sure then. I love having to wake up every morning and have a poem to surprise me on my computer. And that's what I was going to tell this huge group of people that are here today. I was going to tell them there's two really good sites. I go to poetryfoundation.org. Some lady gave them $200 million in 2003. And every day, Saturday and Sunday, I get a poem and it's there waiting for me if I turn on this machine. And so I can turn it off too if I don't want to. And the other organization is poets.org. And that's promoted by a poem a day from the Academy of American Poets. That's poets.org. So these set my day in a better way than some things do.
I didn't write those down last time. I want to try that because that sounds like a wonderful way to wake up. I usually hit the ground running with all these emails and golly.
Well, yeah, that's why I look at once a day is all I really want to look at it unless we have a good meeting. But anyway, those two are good sites. They're professional sites.
Mhm.
So, okay, somebody's turn.
Bob's turn.
Okay, I think I'll read one by another great Black American poet, Robert Hayden. And this is about some tough times. Very short. It's called Ice Storm. Unable to sleep or pray, I stand by the window looking out at moonstruck trees. A December storm has bowed with ice. Maple and mountain ash bend under its glassy weight, their cracked branches falling upon the frozen snow. The trees themselves, as in winters past, will survive their burdening, broken, thrive. And am I less to you, my God, than they?
I also have never heard the word burdening, I don't think, used like that. It's musical. It's beautiful. Oh, yeah.
Did we hear anything about the person anywhere else in the poem? It was just the trees, right? Read it again.
And ice. Yeah, do read it again.
That's one thing I love about it, Jane, is that it's all about himself, but he does it by talking about the trees.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's worth reading this one again, especially since it's short. Unable to sleep or pray, I stand by the window looking out at moonstruck trees. A December storm has bowed with ice. Maple and mountain ash bend under its glassy weight, their cracked branches falling upon the frozen snow. The trees themselves, as in winters past, will survive their burdening, broken, thrive. And am I less to you, my God, than they?
Oh my. I had forgotten about the first line. By the time we got to the last line, he couldn't sleep or pray. So he's troubled about something.
Yeah, his life isn't easy.
He's broken.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the trees sort of becomes, I see, a symbolic of his troubles.
Wow. Oh.
But by the end, notice he's still doubtful. But the first line, he can't pray.
And there's some similarities, although they felt different.
But at the end, he's talking to God.
So he is praying.
But he's still doubtful. He's sort of pleading, if you rescue the trees, can't you also pull me out of this?
Right.
But he seems uncertain as to whether that will happen or not.
Yes. Oh, that's gorgeous.
We are now. Do you have another one of his handy?
I do. I have a whole book full of them. If you like, for my next round, I'll find another one I like by him.
Okay. Well, I'm ready with my next one.
Okay.
This one, I found a poet online named John Rodell. He's a poet and a stand-up comedian and a writer. He's got a blog and so on and so on. So this is called The Anatomy of Peace, or formally titled How to Live with My Body. My brain and heart divorced a decade ago over who was to blame about how big of a mess I have become. Eventually, they couldn't be in the same room with each other. Now my head and heart share custody of me. I stay with my brain during the week, and my heart gets me on weekends. They never speak to one another. Instead, they give me the same note to pass to each other every week. And their notes they send to one another always say the same thing: this is all your fault. On Sundays, my heart complains about how my head has let me down in the past. And on Wednesdays, my head lists all the times my heart has screwed things up for me in the future. They blame each other for the state of my life. There's been a lot of yelling and crying. So lately, I've been spending a lot of time with my gut, who serves as my unofficial therapist. Most nights, I sneak out of the window in my ribcage and slide down my spine and collapse on my gut's plush leather chair that's always open for me. And then I just sit until the sun comes up. Last evening, my gut asked me if I was having a hard time being caught between my heart and my head. I nodded. I said I didn't know if I could live with either of them anymore. My heart is always sad about something that happened yesterday, while my head is always worried about something that might happen tomorrow. I lamented. My gut squeezed my hand. I just can't live with my mistakes of the past or my anxiety about the future, I sighed. My gut smiled and said, in that case, you should go stay with your lungs for a while. I was confused. The look on my face gave it away. If you are exhausted about your heart's obsession with the fixed past and your mind's focus on the uncertain future, your lungs are the perfect place for you. There is no yesterday in your lungs. There is no tomorrow there either. There is only now. There is only inhale. There is only exhale. There is only this moment. There is only breath. And in that breath, you can rest while your heart and head work their relationship out. This morning, while my brain was busy reading tea leaves and my heart was staring at old photographs, I packed a little bag and walked to the door of my lungs. Before I could even knock, she opened the door with a smile, and as a gust of air embraced me, she said, "What took you so long?"
All right, that's cool.
I love this. Oh my gosh.
It's so personal, my goodness. And the comedian's there, isn't it? Isn't he?
That's right. Yeah. But it's just so perfect. I mean, the gut, listening to your gut, and then the lungs with the
In the lungs.
breath. Wow.
Breathe.
Yeah. And
I like bringing commonplace things into a poem, like guts and lungs. I mean, you don't hear that in every poem.
No. And he has a reading of his own poem online. So yeah, he's johnrodell.com. Rodell is Roedel if you want to look him up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's written other things that I really like too.
Yeah, I want to read every poet that there is. This one is by Carol O'Neill. And this is the only one I have that's got a mention of fall, and that's why I'm reading it. It's called A Person of Place. In one corner on the kitchen counter, up on a short rise, we see a scene in a frame that spans the space. To see it is to be there, walking again the 2 miles. Leaving a car-smashed box. Inside, bright copper curls shout out, "Take me home, make something of me, heal my smashed self, set me free." If only life were that simple. Arriving home, she places the box with other treasures found and waiting. Time passes and then some more until one day a catalog comes from Maine. It has a cover of trees turned gold and brown. We see a house the trees surround, and now she knows what to do with that which she found so long ago. Once each day, in a corner of the kitchen, on a short rise, we see a scene where when the sun finds the trees golden brown, the copper shines brightly all around, reminding us of walking home long, long ago. Ta-da!
You froze for a couple of seconds
Oh, shoot.
at the words is it 2 years? Was it 2 years or 2 miles?
She found out what to do. Oh, I can't find that place. Did you remember when we see a house with trees surround?
It was pretty early. How about reading it to us again?
I'll have to. I also have something I made that picks it up with what I found.
Good.
I'll try. A person of place. In one corner on the kitchen counter, up on a short rise, we see a scene in a frame that spans the space. To see it is to be there, walking again the 2 miles home, coming upon a bright shining thing. What can it be? Quickly, carefully, she hurries out, retrieving a car-smashed box. Inside, a bright copper curls shout out, "Take me home, make something of me, heal my smashed self, set me free." If only life were that simple. Arriving home, she places the box with other treasures found and waiting. Time passes and then some more until one day, a catalog comes from Maine. It has a cover of trees turned gold and brown. We see a house the trees surround, and now she knows what to do with that which she found so long ago. Once each day in a corner of the kitchen, on a short rise, we see a scene. When the sun finds the trees gold and brown, the copper shines brightly all around, reminding us of walking home long, long ago.
Oh, that is lovely.
Beautiful, Carol.
Thank you. And I have the piece that I made from it too, from the cover of what's that company that sends you catalogs from Maine? You know, they clothes and blankets and stuff.
Land's End? Land's End?
No, better than Land's End, older. Anyway, that's okay. You don't have to know. You know, you get it in the mail whether you want it or not.
Are you going to show us the artwork?
Oh, sure. I could do that while you decide what you're going to read.
Sounds good.
There it is.
LL.
The catalog is from August 2002, but I didn't write it or make it then. Can you see this at all?
Yes.
And there's copper, the trees. I put the meshy copper on the trees, and sometimes the sun hits it and it shines like crazy.
Oh my gosh. Is it
Yes.
LL Bean?
Yes. Thank you, LL Bean. You got it. You get the prize.
Yay.
Okay, who's next?
It's Bob's turn.
Okay. Well, I do have another one by Robert Hayden, but I'd like to maybe put that on the shelf for a moment because I especially would like to read something by John Keats to you, and I want to be sure I get a chance to do that. This is called To Autumn, so I figured it fits the season. And I was talking with Larry Dilge this morning, and he reminded me of the existence of this poem. And if you're like me, if I hear this once, I'm not able to just understand every statement made by it, but I mainly get the image, some beautiful imagery along the way. So we'll see. To Autumn. Season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run, to bend with apples the mossed cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core, to swell the gourd and plump the hazel shells with a sweet kernel, to set budding more and still more later flowers for the bees, until they think warm days will never cease, for summer has o'erbrimmed their clammy shells. Who hath not seen thee oft amid thy store? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind, or on a half-reaped furrow, sound asleep, drowsed with the fume of poppies, while thy hook spares the next swath and all its twined flowers. And sometimes, like a gleaner, thou dost keep steady thy laden head across a brook, or by a cider press with patient look. Thou watchest the last oozings, hours by hours. Where are the songs of spring? Aye, where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. While barred clouds bloom the soft dying day and touch the stubble plains with rosy hue. Then in a wailful choir, the small gnats mourn among the river swallows, borne aloft or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. And full-grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bourne. Hedge crickets sing, and now with treble soft, the redbreast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. That's it.
A lot of pretty images in that. I didn't get the whole sense of, was it just a description of the landscape, or was there some underlying message, do you think?
In the second stanza, he's personifying autumn.
Mm-hmm.
He's treating autumn as if, let's see. Who hath not seen thee oft amid thy store? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee, sitting careless on a granary floor, thy hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind. That's a personification of autumn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's mainly just the beautiful richness of autumn. He's sort of saying, you know, we think of spring as so beautiful, but let's not overlook autumn.
Right.
Autumn has its own gifts, you know.
Right.
Actually, I agree with him. It's my best. I like autumn. I like leaves crunching and all that good stuff.
Right.
Miss
But
that.
I don't think there's any real narrative to it, you know, but.
You're like, oh, there's beautiful word choices. The vocabulary in it is astounding.
Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And John Keats died when he was 26 years old.
Ah, what a waste, what a waste.
Of tuberculosis.
I had no idea. I always pictured him as a very old man. Wow.
No. And his poetry is just, you know, astonishingly rich.
Wow.
And what a loss that he died so young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, welcome.
I'm just jumping in. Okay, you're recording,
Need
huh?
you. Get us a poem.
There was a poem that I read when, oh my God, in church when I was about, probably 5 years old, maybe. And it's called, I Wonder Why the Grass is Green and Why the Wind Has Never Been Seen. And I still remember part of it, but not fully all of it. And it's, you know, but again, it's called, I Wonder Why the Grass is Green and Why the Wind Has Never Been Seen. Who taught the birds to build a nest? And who told the tree to take a rest? And that's what I remembered.
It made an impact on you.
It does.
Do you know the poet's name?
I don't know, but I will look for, research and find out, actually.
Yeah, I think all you have to do is put in the first line and it'll probably pop up and tell you who it is.
I sure will do that. But yeah, so when I'm like stressed out or something, I go right back to that poem. And yeah, because it's recorded in my mind, the first part of it.
Those two lines again.
Excuse me, what did you say, Jean?
The lines again?
Oh, I'm not hearing very well on my end, I'm sorry.
Say those two lines again that you remember.
Oh, sure, yeah. I wonder why the grass is green, and here I go. Now I forget all over it. I wonder why the grass is green and why the wind is never seen. Who taught the birds to build a nest?
Yeah, it's popping up.
Oh, real? What? This was in Jamaica when I.
Here's the other two lines. Or when the moon is not quite round, where can the missing bit be found?
Oh,
that's beautiful. I would want to see it somewhere. How did you?
that.
What did you just put in those first lines, right?
Put in the first line. I wonder why the grass is green and why the wind is never seen.
Mm-hmm.
Taught the birds to build a nest and told the trees to take rest. Or when the moon is not quite round, where can the missing bit be found? I love that part about the moon.
I know.
I've thought, when I look up at the moon, I've often thought about ancient people seeing a different shape every day and wondering, what did they think? What did they think about that? Interesting.
Did y'all see the harvest moon last night?
No.
Oh. But tonight too, maybe, right?
I would think it would stick around for more than one night.
Probably.
It was beautiful.
Was it orange?
Yes.
Oh, I like
at least
orange.
Yellow. It definitely had
I'll have to go look tonight.
It wasn't just white. It had a warm look to it.
Was that the first night of it? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, maybe.
I saw something about tonight is the harvest moon, and I don't remember what night it was.
Oh, well, now let me think. I don't always see the moon. What direction were you looking?
I was looking to more or less the east, I would say.
I'm gonna have to go outside, but I will.
I have to run and take care of something. I'm just going to stop my video for a second. You guys go on.
Okay.
Is our new person still here? Donna, you're still here. Huh?
Donna, yeah, I'm still here. How are you?
We're glad you came.
Yeah, I'm so happy I was able to make it. I was concerned. I was looking at the time. I was in a meeting and I said, "Oh, I really want to be here." So, yeah, I'm happy I'm here. Thank you. Thank you.
You have another poem for us, Donna?
No, I don't. There are times when I sit and create. I have something written down somewhere, but at this moment, no, I don't. Not offhand.
Be sure you come every time because I would love to hear it.
Okay, I sure will. I'll do my best. I don't want to promise and not show up, but I will do that.
There's this guy, I have a book of poems by Jim Harrison.
Oh.
I heard him, I read something about it. It was an excerpt in a novel or something. I liked it so much. I told my friend and she got me one of his books. He's really earthy and masculine, but not always. I'll read one that's called Morning. The mirror tastes him, breath clouds, hands pressed against glass. In yellow morning light, a jay flutters in unaccustomed silence from bush to limb of elm. A cow at breakfast pauses, her jaws lax in momentary stillness. Far off, a milk truck rattles on the section road. Light, low mist floats over the buckwheat, through the orchard. The neighbor's dogs bark, then 4 roosters announce day. Kind of neat.
Lovely.
But you know why?
Yes.
You know why I liked him too? I read a quote of his. He died a couple years ago. He said, "When I die, I want my tombstone to have the word poet first." I
Mm.
thought, yeah.
I love that kind of very concrete description.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he's written a lot, but he couldn't make money that way. Naturally, most poets don't. And he wrote, I think he wrote some movie scripts and he wrote some novels.
He wrote Legends of the Fall.
Right.
not? Yeah,
Who
it's
knows?
funny. I thought that was a great movie, and I thought this is going to be a big, sweeping novel, probably 500 pages. But when I came to the book, it was actually a fairly short book,
Poetic.
but it was a good book.
Was it? I don't know it. I know of it.
Yeah.
So,
Let me go ahead and do my Robert Hayden one.
please, please.
A second Robert Hayden. This is pretty well known. It often appears in collections of poetry. It's called Those Winter Sundays. Sundays too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold. Then with cracked hands that ached from labor in the weekday weather, made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house. Speaking indifferently to him, who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know of love's austere and lonely offices? Duties, that is.
Wow.
At the end, duties, that is.
Well, I just added that because usually when I think of offices, he's using it in a sense that's not very familiar to me anyway.
Oh, no, I thought you might have added it, and I think that's a good thing to do.
Hmm.
The way people use words, it's amazing what words can do. If you think
Yes.
about the right words, you can get up in the morning and feel crummy or think about the pandemic or something and think of a word, write it down, and that word becomes more words and you can change your attitude. At least it works for me sometimes.
Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah. You know, interesting when I like really feeling down or something, and I think of a word like the ocean and there's something about that, and I become so creative around just visualizing the ocean. And I could, add so many different words to what I'm visualizing in that moment. So yes.
Do you draw and paint also?
No, I would love to. No, I don't.
Be honest.
I don't. Yeah, being honest, yes, I don't. Would
But
love to.
if
In
you
my
could,
mind, though, in my mind, yes.
that you could. You just, you're in denial. I think you could do it.
Could be. Could be.
Don't mind, I've got another Carol O'Neill. This one is called Naming, and it's more or less about spring, and it reminds me of where I come from. I had a little house in Clarendon Hills, Illinois. It's called Naming. Fever few, piss and vinegar, so says my granny, by any other name, and there are many. Hollyhock, the mom and dad hawk, named the little one Holly. Oh my, the things people do. Eileen, across the street, called the local rag to brag about the yellow bush across from her place, part of my place, and looking for Scythia fine. Needs cutting back before next year's bloom, after all the yellow has melted away. Before then, snow melts and up pop snowdrops, hanging their little heads, never to perk up even when the snow is gone. Some things just like to hang low. Violets about to bloom, take the whole in your mouth and taste the honey it tries to hide inside convolutions of flower flesh. Currants bloom flowers, making small green globes, turning orangey red, see-through shining fruit to pop in the mouth or in the pan. And this is only the beginning. More to come, more to come, more to come. Give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth.
Ah,
I like
Little
that.
music at the end.
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
So many of
Okay.
these poems we're reading are about things that outwardly, at least about things that grow
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
and animals and nature, which we all miss, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Nature, yeah.
Live right by the ocean, and I don't get enough nature here. The people that live 3 blocks up from me get more nature than I do, I think. Anybody got
Oh,
another
why is
poem?
that? It's 3 blocks away and they get more.
It's uphill. It's warmer.
Oh, got it.
There's
Okay.
less wind, perhaps. I don't know, but there are birds in the trees there, houses. I don't
Mhm.
have that here. I'm too close to all this water, and I don't know. It's just also I'm in a giant building. If I were in a nice house, I think it would make a difference too.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I've got another one if I can find.
While you're looking, I'll jump in. I've got a very short one. It's called Poetry. Some days I know not from where you come, just appearing out of nowhere. You beckon me to take notice, captivating my thoughts. Yet other days I search to find you, a daily surprise you give me. And it's shaped like a triangle, an upside down triangle.
Uh,
Read it again, Jean.
Okay. Poetry. Some days I know not from where you come, just appearing out of nowhere. You beckon me to take notice, captivating my thoughts. Yet other days I search to find you, a daily surprise you give me.
mm.
So at first, when I read this, I thought it was about a person. But then I thought maybe it's, I know not where these ideas in my head for poetry come from. They spring out of me onto the paper. Just appearing out of nowhere, you beckon me to take notice, captivating my thoughts. But then other days I think, I'm going to write a poem, right? And I search for you. A daily surprise.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah. Did you find it?
Another short one from Jim Harrison, really short. It's kind of humorous. A half dozen times a day, I climb through the electric fence on my way and back to my study. In the barnyard, I have to be cautious. I have learned my true dimensions, how far my body sticks out from my brain.
What's the electric fence though?
Lives on a farm. He was born and raised in Michigan, and he lives in the wild sort of. So he probably has some land to plow and whatever. So electric fence keeps out what you don't want, or stake keeps in what you want to stay in, cows and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't realize that farmers had electrified fences.
Oh yeah.
Some do.
Do.
Bob, did you find that poem you were looking for?
Well, I did, but I read it when you were off stage.
Oh, I thought just now you were saying I'm going to look for, and I said, oh, I've got a really short one while you're looking.
But I do have another poem.
Okay.
I think I'll read another Langston Hughes poem.
All right.
This one is called The Negro Speaks of Rivers. I've known rivers. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo, and it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep like the rivers.
I had heard that before. That's a beautiful poem.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know, that and other things I've heard recently remind me how different just a couple generations, what you call people of color. I'm with Langston Hughes. I'm from his time, and I called Black people Negroes. Now you would not use that term. It would be Black
That's right.
or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I'm from that. At one point, that was what I was taught to say also.
Mhm. And even African American, I think, is a little bit out of style now.
I think it is too. I think
You know what
Black,
else? You know what else is Native American? A lot of Native Americans don't like the term Native American. Some do, but they like American Indian or whatever, something else.
Yeah.
I've heard.
Mhm.
We have a friend who's Indian, and he likes to be called an Indian. And he also says that some of his people call themselves original people. The original people, which I
Original people?
OPs, yeah, original.
Oh, that's nice. That's pretty nice. I don't know if I were Native, which one I would pick. I kind of like all of them a little bit.
Mhm.
I just want them to have more water and more money and be happier.
Yes.
I could read something by Maya Angelou.
Okay.
Okay.
It's Alone, lying, thinking last night, how to find my soul a home where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I do not believe I'm wrong, that nobody, but nobody can make it out here alone.
Mm,
Was that clear? Did you
yeah.
guys?
Yeah, clear and really good. Yeah.
I was concerned about my accent kicking in somewhere, you know?
No.
You don't sound like you have one to me. That's Jamaica?
Yeah, Jamaican. Jamaica.
Sound like a real person to me.
That's Jamaica. You're funny. I love that. Yeah, we are a
Isn't
real
that what you've
person.
always wanted to be?
Huh?
Donna,
Isn't that what you've always wanted to be?
Sorry.
Jamaican.
Oh, a real person.
A real person.
I am. Yeah, you know, really, I've always wanted to be actually a human being.
There you go.
I find that to be, as far as I'm concerned, I still find that to be a work in progress.
It is. That's why I say it. Yes, exactly.
Well, that's why the word is being. It's not been, right?
Ah,
I think it should be Bean, B-E-A-N.
Yeah.
A human being.
Absolutely.
So Donna, will you read it again, please?
oh, okay. Let's get this.
Please.
All right. Lying, thinking last night, how to find my soul a home where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody, but nobody can make it out here alone.
Oh,
Mm.
yes. She was a very
Nice poem.
writer.
Huh?
She was a very prolific writer.
Yes. Maya
I read
Angelou.
one at an inauguration, I remember.
Hmm. And I know why the caged bird sings was a great autobiographical book, but she wrote several more volumes of autobiography.
Huh.
she had such an interesting life, you know. she didn't need to make up fiction to write very fascinating narratives.
Right.
Know that 3 autobios. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking about myself now. How many pages could I get?
Yeah.
Not 3, that's for sure.
Different stages.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how, I think I've only read that one, but yeah, I think so. Yeah, she kept, I'm not sure how many she wrote in all, but at least 2, and I'm thinking 3. It sort of, you know, continued, because I know When the Cage Bird Sings only took her up to about, maybe she was about 20 or something.
Mm. There's probably a lot of wondering about her life. Well,
Plus some tremendous poetry.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go, but I have a very short 2-line poem to end this poetry reading. It's "You can be sad because rose bushes have thorns, or you can be happy and celebrate that thorn bushes have roses."
Mm,
Up to you.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
love
Jean.
it.
Thank you, Jean. Goodbye, all your poet lovers.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. This was great.
This
Yeah,
is
come
really
back.
enjoyable.
Nice
Thank
to
you
meet
so much.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
That's a great
Bye.
ending.
Yeah, it is.